All right, a major gun rights organization is taking the ATF to court over its regulation of gun sales. The Gun Owners of America is suing over federal firearms license inspection guidelines. The Biden administration issued a zero-tolerance policy for stores that violate regulations. After one infraction, the ATF can revoke a gun store's license.
I came here to chew bubblegum and ruin the ATF's day, and I'm all out of bubblegum. This is gonna sound like a crossover video of all your favorite gun tubers, like when Garantham, Admin Results, and Brandon Herrera get all together for a video. But this time, it's going to be GOA's legal team, lobbyists, and the courts coming together to fight the big bads, the Biden administration and the ATF. Hi, I'm Ben, and you're watching the Minuteman Moment. Let me give you some background. GOA and GOF sued the ATF over their frame and receiver rules in the 8th Circuit. We teamed up with a local gun store named Morehouse Enterprises in that case. You can watch this video to learn more about it. Now flash forward to earlier this year, when GOA leaked a ton of documents that outlined how the ATF had changed the rules on when gun stores could get their license revoked. You can watch that video here for more detail, but to give you a short summary, the ATF now can revoke a license for single instances of paperwork mistakes. So how does that relate to messing up the ATF today? Well, the ATF has targeted Morehouse for zero-tolerance license revocation. This means they're going to remove their ability to sell guns and end a bunch of people's livelihoods. So here's how that unfolded. ATF initiated its first ever inspection of Morehouse only a month after GOA filed the first lawsuit. I know, some of you are probably doubting me, thinking that this is just routine. But personally, I'll never give the benefit of doubt to any government agency. The plot only thickens the more you hear. Before the inspection started, ATF investigator Jacob Temp and other agents joked about how the inspection would look like retaliation. Well, if the shoe fits, or more situationally, the boot, Temp said that the ATF had planned to delay any inspection for at least 3 years while the litigation was still pending. So why would they change their minds? What did they find during this inspection? Were the people at Morehouse selling RPGs or grenade launchers? Nothing that cool, unfortunately. In fact, Agent Temp expressed his approval at the overall level of compliance. But this story doesn't have a happy ending. In March, ATF issued a report of violations. In the report, they verified that all of Morehouse's records were accurate, but they listed 5 violations. 3 of them were just small paperwork mistakes. They forgot to write down that they'd returned a repaired gun to a customer. They left off a digit from a background check number. And they wrote a social security number where the background check number should have gone. The other 2 violations came from a single sale. They sold a handgun to someone from Georgia in their North Dakota store and didn't run a background check and used a Georgia concealed carry permit instead. In May, ATF told Morehouse that they would revoke their FFLs. It's important to note that none of these violations in any way impacted public safety, risked the transfer of a firearm to a prohibited person, or harmed law enforcement's ability to trace any firearm. Now, if you aren't familiar with the out-of-state handgun transfer law, let me explain. Dealers are prohibited from transferring handguns to residents of other states, but at the same time, they're allowed to transfer long guns. ATF says that this is because FFLs cannot be expected to know the laws of other states. Now, this is ironic since many long guns are banned by certain states. Not only that, but the ATF expects everyone to know every detail of the rules, or it's straight to jail, do not pass go for you. Yet, this isn't a problem here because Georgia doesn't have any restrictions on handguns for their residents. The zero tolerance policy kicked in because Morehouse used his valid concealed carry permit to skip the background check. The ATF has a list of states called the Permanent Brady Permit Chart, where you can buy a firearm without a background check. The only problem with this violation is that Georgia permit was not a valid background check in North Dakota. But this shouldn't matter because the Georgia carry permit was more than enough proof that the buyer was able to own a gun. Neither ATF report claimed that the Georgia buyer was ineligible or that Morehouse had ever transferred a firearm to a prohibited person. This sale in no way impacts public safety or ATF's ability to trace the firearm once it was transferred. See how ATF seems to be grasping at straws here? Previously, Morehouse's mistake here would have led to a warning. However, under Biden's zero tolerance policy, ATF claims that the very same violation warrants an automatic revocation. What's worse is that Morehouse wouldn't have known about this secret policy unless GOA had leaked it earlier. ATF does not make its administrative actions policy known to the public. That's why GOA's legal team is teaming up with Morehouse once again to lay the smackdown on the ATF. We're taking the fight to the ATF just like we always do. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to stay updated with what GOA is doing for your rights.